When convention and science offer us no answers, might we not finally turn to the fantastic as a plausibility? Thus spoke Special Agent Fox Mulder in the TV show The X-Files. Hello everybody, and welcome to eXpedition Paranormal. I am Sherlock Holmes, and in this series we will explore such topics as ghosts, aliens, cryptic creatures, codes, ciphers, anomalies, paranormal occurrences, and unexplained phenomena. First of all, I would like to give a shout out to Karl Casey and White Bat Audio. They were the ones that did the musical introduction that I just had. That song was called Bad Omens. They have copyright-free, no royalty music that I absolutely love, and I will definitely be using their music in the future, in future videos. This video will acts as a sort of introduction to the series that I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be doing, what topics I'm going to be going through, and I want to get your feedback on these videos too. So, as I said, this series will be exploring anything paranormal, anything supernatural, anything unexplained, out of the ordinary, and even some of the normal things. So, to start, I'm actually going to go on my paranormal investigation notebook. Just for some definitions. So, normal, I really hate that word normal. But basically, normal is the everyday things. Everyday animals, everyday occurrences, everyday weather. It's the status quo, basically. So, when you look at the word paranormal, para means above or beyond. Normal. So, paranormal is literally above or beyond normal. And very similarly, supernatural is like a synonym of paranormal if you actually look at the etymology of the words. So, because once again, super is above or beyond, and then natural, normal. So, paranormal, yeah, is above or beyond the normal. In this series, I might be using such words as entity or agent. That's the spirit phenomena that's happening. Percipient is a client, subject, or witness to the paranormal activities. And as we'll go into different seasons will be about different topics. For example, just looking at season 4, for example, will be about aliens. Season, what is it? Season 12 is going to be about ghosts, and we'll have, right now I'm looking at about 22 different seasons, and we'll cover a wide variety of stuff, and this is going to be a learning process, or learning journey for me as well as for you, because I am still investigating. I started investigating these things probably back in 2009, 2010, maybe, somewhere around there. So I've been literally doing this for years. I've got books galore. My desk up above the shelf, that is completely covered with books. Actually, I'll give you a sneak peek. All those books have to do with paranormal or supernatural. So like I said, I've been doing this for years. So this is a lifelong journey for me, but I'm not done learning. And so as I go through this series, I'm going to be teaching and helping you guys learn, but I'm also going to be doing some learning myself, especially as I brush up on some of the topics. I might have forgotten some of the stuff, or I might learn some new things about different topics that I didn't even know before. I never had learned. So once again, this video is going to be just the introduction. We'll do some more investigation, how to investigate. We're going to cover different types of equipment, different things you can do investigating, questions you can ask, how to investigate properly. Don't be a jerk, especially when you're investigating on someone else's property. We're also going to touch on some of my personal theories, some other theories about, or by other investigators. If you may or may not know, I'm actually in Colorado Springs. That's where I live. If there's other people in Colorado Springs area that want to connect and spread or create a network, basically, to help investigate, and the main thing is trying to find the truth behind each of these paranormal or supernatural things, using a scientific approach, trying to find explanations. And sometimes we can't find explanations, but we have to have an open mind to find that. And that's why I started with the quote by Fox Mulder, is because sometimes science doesn't answer all the questions, and we might have to turn to the fantastic as a plausibility. So that's what I'm going to hope to accomplish in this series, is trying to investigate different types of phenomena, different occurrences, different creatures, different things, and come up with a scientific, rational explanation. And like I said, sometimes it's going to be an irrational explanation. Here's a teaser for season 12. Did you know that sound can make you see ghosts? Well, like I said, I'll get into that later on. So I'd say to start, let's start with some basic rules about paranormal investigation. Because the key to being a good investigator is finding that balance between being skeptical and being gullible. Because, yes, there are people that are causing hoaxes. There are people that like to create fake crop circles. They do fake videos or whatever for the attention. They like the energy that they give. Don't even get me started about energy vampires. That'll be later on as well. So I guess the first rule would be to be cautious and skeptical and not gullible. But you don't want to be too skeptical, because you want to be able to believe, because sometimes some people have had legitimate experiences and you don't want to come across as, I don't believe you. You want to believe them. You want to trust them. But at the same time, you got to balance that with not being too gullible, okay? So the first rule is conduct the initial interview of any eyewitnesses to the event. So, as soon as possible, try to interview the people who who witnessed the event or creature or whatever phenomena. And you're also going to want to separate the witnesses so that the details are separate. Like, this guy noticed, I'm just gonna use a car crash as an example. This guy said that the car is red. This guy said that the driver's seat, his hair was blonde. Well, focusing on those different details, people see different things. So if you have multiple witnesses to an event, you want to separate the witnesses as soon as possible and then interview them, so that you get a bigger look at the picture, and the person's testimony is not influenced by the other person's testimony, if that makes sense. And that's interviewing basics 101. I actually learned that in college when I was at UCCS. I was actually going into criminal justice, and I learned about interrogating and interviewing people. So, same thing with paranormal investigation as with any crime or car accident or anything else. You want to separate those witnesses and interview them separately. Like I said, just so the contamination of the testimony. Rule number 2 is, whenever you're investigating, you want to visit the local library, courthouse, or other locations for information. This is trying to find like a background. Oh, this house that is haunted is built on a Indian burial ground. Okay, that makes sense. Now we can investigate this. Oh, this place that's supposedly haunted is built above a subway. And so the people in the house hear the subway going by and think it's ghosts, when actually it's just the subway. And that's why we want to investigate with a scientific approach, is because sometimes the paranormal things are explained rationally. And like I said, sometimes they are irrational explanations for them. Sometimes you can't fully explain. I believe that there is a spiritual dimension that interacts with our dimension. Some things legitimately cannot be explained. And I will get into this when we get into aliens and UFOs in season 4, because a certain amount of UFO sightings and or alien sightings simply cannot be explained. Some of them can be explained to hoaxes or natural phenomena or swamp gas or government airplanes. There's a small percentage, I want to say it's like 4%, 4 or 5%, that are simply completely 100% unexplained. It wasn't an airplane, it wasn't a government experiment, it wasn't swamp gas, it wasn't natural phenomena, and we'll get into such things as, I want to say it's the Marfa lights in Texas. We'll get into different things like that at first they appear to have no rational explanation, and then the Marfa lights, I'm pretty sure it was the Marfa lights, they found a rational explanation for it that only works in that one area just because the atmosphere, the just conditions of the area. So I know some other shows have done things like that on Discovery Channel, History Channel, probably National Geographic. So we'll get into that in different seasons about different phenomena and whether they actually do have an explanation or not. And especially when we get into seasons 5 and 6, which are, I split it into 2 different seasons because there's so many, and that's cryptids. Some of those might be misidentified creatures that actually do exist, such as, well, what if Bigfoot's just a gorilla? Or things that we thought were extinct and they turn out to not be extinct, such as, well, let's say that Bigfoot is actually a Gigantopithecus, which we know existed. And I'm just throwing that out there. We'll investigate that when it comes time to. Or what if Bigfoot is legitimately something we haven't discovered yet? And the average person would be like, oh, well, what is this? We've already discovered everything that can be discovered. And I would say, no. You have to look carefully, because National Geographic has I've read articles from National Geographic about species of frogs, fish, and whatever that keep getting discovered every day. The planet is vastly unexplored. There's so much. The ocean itself, we've only explored like 15% of it or less. Rainforests, regular forests, just so much that we haven't even touched on, haven't explored. There's so much that could be out there that we don't even know, would blow our minds. So that some of these cryptids, some of these animals, these creatures, could very well be something that we haven't discovered yet. Like I said, I also believe in a a spiritual dimension. Well, there's so much we can't even know about the spiritual dimension. Like, we know, I come from a background of Christian. I've been learning about other things like Buddhism, Wicca. There's so much more that we can't even begin to fathom. It's like, I heard this example once of, imagine one of those big round tables. Not like super big, but like, it could fit like probably 8 or 10 people around a table. Okay? Imagine that table covered with a completely white tablecloth. Alright, now imagine on that round table with a white tablecloth, you have a plate, a dinner plate. Regular, probably about that big, 11 or 12 inches across. Dinner plate. On that plate is a pea. Okay? Picturing this in your mind. Now, the table and the tablecloth represents the entirety of knowledge, the entirety of the universe's knowledge, everything that could possibly be known about the universe and everything in it. That's the tablecloth. That's the whole entire tablecloth. The plate is the maximum extent of what mankind can know. We are limited. We're also relatively young as a species. There's only so much we can learn. Even in the distant future, let's say 100,000 years from now, we're traveling to distant distant constellations, different star systems. We're finally learning about those, and we're finally learning new things about different planets and new elements that we didn't even know existed, new creatures and new whatever. That's still on that dinner plate. That's the extent of what mankind can possibly ever know. And then that tiny P, that is the extent of what mankind currently knows. Just think about that. So, could there be mysteries or unexplained phenomena of the spiritual dimension, of the natural order, that are on the plate that P has not discovered yet? We just haven't gotten there. We might discover it in 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. Like I said, 100,000 years. We're flying out to distant star systems. Who knows? So, continuing on with the rules of paranormal investigation. And this is specifically more ghost investigation, hauntings. But this is true for anything. Return to the scene of the haunting or occurrence of paranormal phenomena. Return to the scene to interview the witnesses about any recent activity since the initial interview. So, let's say on July 8th of 2018, somebody witnessed this happen. Well, as soon as you know about it, July 13th, you go and interview them. Then in the few weeks after that, you're investigating, you find out, the history of the house, the history of the land underneath the house, blah, 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 blah. That takes a few weeks. Now you're into August. Now you want to return to the location and interview those witnesses about anything that's happened since then. Okay. Since then, have you had anything happened? That also gives time for, if it's a new house, things settle, okay? If in summer heat, houses tend to expand a little bit. In the cold, it tends to contract a little bit. So with time, you can notice, okay, maybe these pipes creaking in the summertime, maybe that is natural occurrence, natural phenomena, and you help solve the mystery. Also, during that time, use equipment. Because initially, when you first get in contact with the people, that's when you just talk to them. When you return to or maybe this is the first time you're actually visiting the location, that's when you use the equipment. And like I said, in future episodes, we will talk about different equipment, both electrical and non-electrical equipment. All right. Then rule 4, and this is actually not real rule, but like step 4. Step 4 is to use the collected data to make a determination and conclusion. And I would hope that most of the time the conclusion that you come to would be a natural explanation. If you're truly a skeptic, a true investigator should be skeptical, then you should be able to find a natural, scientific, rational explanation for probably like 95% of phenomena, whether it's an animal that's in the attic or leaky pipes or whatever. Most of the time, you should be coming up with a rational, logical explanation. If you're jumping to the conclusion instantly that it's ghosts, I'm sorry, you're not going to make a good investigator. So you got to start with the skeptic mind now, before you start investigating. All right. Going into these are the basic rules. 3 basic rules for conducting initial interviews during a paranormal investigation. Like I already brushed on, separate everyone immediately in different rooms if possible before conducting interviews. And like I said, this helps to prevent any contamination of testimony. Number 2, if possible, always record the initial interview in audio or video format. That way you get people's reactions, their, like, it's like raw emotion, basically. Like, this just happened. They're scared. They have fear of this thing that they just witnessed. So recording that, you can kind of catch it to determine, okay, is this legitimate or is this a hoax? Because I hope that people aren't trying to hoax you, but it's possible in this line of work, unfortunately. And not only possible, but probable. If you're serious about becoming a paranormal investigator, there will be people that are trying to hoax you. You will come across it. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. People are going to try to hoax you, whether for attention or to just make a fool out of you. It's going to happen. So try to recognize it early on. If you have any sort of background like I do in criminal justice, you could try to learn about facial cues, body language, stuff like that. Okay, is this person being legitimate and honest with me? Is this real fear I see in their eyes? Or could this be a hoax? Could this guy just be doing it to rip me off? Or not rip me off, because there should be no money transaction, but you know what I'm saying, to make a fool out of me. Or for attention. Who knows? In our world today with social networks and social media and YouTube and all these other things, people want attention. People crave attention, so they're putting videos of themselves, of their food, of whatever. But everybody's doing it, so to get above everybody else is doing, you have to come up with something new. Well, that unnatural phenomena that just occurred. Well, whether it's actual real or not, that's for you to determine. And like I said, hopefully you can determine if it is indeed a hoax or if it is legitimate. Good luck. All right. Rule number 3. And this is a very important one as well. Never be condescending or disrespectful, no matter how crazy what a client says may sound. And always conduct yourselves with courtesy, compassion, and understanding. So let's say that the witness is saying that crazy thing just happened, and they're describing this clown that has extra heads and blah, blah, blah. It might sound absolutely bonkers to you, but as an investigator, you have to be respectful, understanding, compassionate. If this is a legitimate experience that this person went through, they're probably terrified. Please be understanding. Please treat them with respect and understanding. If you mock them, they could shut down to you and to any other investigator. So for the sake of yourself and for the sake of future investigators, and if you work in retail, this will especially help you, because people can be aggravating when you work in retail. So you have to be respectful, no matter how crazy the person sounds. Shoot, I'm going to bring it up. The story of back when I was working at McDonald's, this was my first job back in 2013. There was somebody, they went through the drive-thru at McDonald's and ordered, I'm not kidding, a cheeseburger without cheese. I don't remember how much a cheeseburger costs, but let's say that a cheeseburger costs $1. Okay? So, a cheeseburger without cheese. Ring it up, it'd be $1. Well, we also have on the menu hamburgers, which are a little bit cheaper. I don't remember the exact price, but I'm remembering that it's 15 cents cheaper. 15 cents isn't that much of a big deal. It's 85 cents for a hamburger, $1 for a cheeseburger. So this person orders a cheeseburger, no cheese. I'm like, sir, would you like a hamburger? It's a little bit cheaper. Nope, I want a cheeseburger, no cheese. Are you sure, sir? Because like I said, it's 15 cents cheaper. It's a small amount, but it is a little bit cheaper. You can save a little bit of money. You use that 15 cents elsewhere. Nope, I want a cheeseburger, no cheese. Okay. Ring him up. My manager comes by. I'm like, hey, why did you ring up a cheeseburger, no cheese? Why didn't you just ring up a hamburger? That's what the customer wanted. Now that's an extreme example of you just have to be respectful. By the way, that quote, the infamous quote of the customer is always right, is wrong. The actual quote is, the customer is always right when it comes to taste, in the matter of taste. But especially when it comes to witnesses and the paranormal, you have to be respectful. You have to be compassionate, especially if they just witness something terrifying. So, I'm going to close this video here. And depending on how much more I have to go over, I might make a second introduction video. For now, happy Friday the 13th, because by the time this video is released, it will be Friday the 13th. Who knows, by the time you watch it, it might be past Friday the 13th, but still, happy Friday the 13th, because I plan on releasing this video on Friday, October 13th. If you're watching this on Friday the 13th, tomorrow, the 14th, will be a solar eclipse, so make sure that if you're in an area that you can view it, make sure to view it. Don't know exactly what time that is, but I will try to post a link in the description about that. So keep an eye out for that. And I will be, like I said, I'll be doing future videos about paranormal investigation, electronic equipment, other equipment, cameras, teaching you how to be a paranormal investigator, and then in future seasons, I'll be teaching about different phenomena, different creatures, different things. And like I said, this will be a learning experience for me as well as for you. So come along with me on this journey on Expedition Paranormal, and I'll see you in the next video.